Hey everyone, welcome to this channel. I'm Sasha Angelina, I'm a channeler, and we do a lot of group channelings here at Marigolds Boise, which is in Boise, but we also record them and stream them online. But what I've started doing is I love to go through and reread them and then break them down with new information we have or things that you can do to help you follow the guidance that is given. I channel a lot of different beings, and it's a very beautiful experience. They never tell us what to do. They always just give us this loving guidance. And a lot of the guidance has been what is happening on the planet right now as we evolve. How can we heal? How can we access our multidimensional being or our field? How can we let go of beliefs or paradigms that aren't serving us? Lots of information has been given to us that is so beautiful that when we go away, we have to really meditate on it to integrate it. And sometimes it takes a while to implement it into your life, right? When multidimensional beings or higher dimensional beings, I guess you could call it, the information they bring, it's not like you can understand it in your analytical brain. You have to allow it to integrate into your being through meditation and really breaking it down, but in an internal way. So we're going to go through one of the first group channelings I did here. This was about a year ago. And this was with Toth, the first time Toth came through. So Toth is a jaguar being. He has said, the way he's described it is that when you begin to become, we're always in multiple dimensions. So you may be in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensions in your multidimensional being. But as we have come into this existence, there's this shadow, this block, for various reasons, so that we stay grounded in the 3D to have this experience. We're now becoming more aware of our multidimensional being, but there's things we need to do to integrate our multidimensional being into this reality. And as we do that, the entire planet will begin to expand into higher dimensions or become aware of other dimensions. I call them higher dimensions, but they're not linear. So this is something I've personally been understanding recently, is that dimensions are not linear. The way they've been shown to me is like these spheres that are interlocked in this circle form. So what it reminded me of was the flower of life, when you look at the circles that are going around, each of those being a dimension. And they're overlaid, right? So Toth is in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensions and able to consciously move through them. So he could take form if he wanted in a third dimension. He can access up into the seventh dimension, which he said he does not have form there and is a more unified space. But he's still very loving and very passionate and definitely has a personality. Can be a little intense sometimes, but also very beautiful. So in this channeling, he talked about psychology, what that is. He talked about how to integrate negative psychology and why that's important at this time. He talked about our multidimensional being, our sacred being. So I'm just going to go through and read parts of it, and then we can talk about them, because even when I go back and read them, I get new information, especially since it's been a year and I now know all the other channelings we've done and all the integration that I've personally done and reflection on the information that comes through. So I have downloads, visions all the time. I feel like it's so, as these channelings come through, then I can help others understand them as well, because I've spent a lot more time just meditating with them, receiving teachings. They'll give me information in multiple ways over a lengthy period of time to help me break it down and understand it. So what he started, I'm looking for the beginning. All right, so first thing he did is he talked about who he is. So he said, I am he Toth. I will speak today in conjunction and alignment with the higher self of this vessel, which was me, which we call Indira. So there's a part of my multidimensional being, or my higher self, and her name is Indira. He being the name of my clan, Toth being what I have attained in my soul as a teacher and also as a warrior. The war is no longer in the physical, and I do not fight with weapons or my hands. As we move through the dimensions, we lose the idea of war. We don't need it. But I am a protector of consciousness, of the growth within consciousness. I protect the psychology that allows this growth, and I teach how to heal the psychology in order to grow, in order to achieve and to ascend into your higher dimensional being, to connect with your higher self, to connect with your brothers and sisters of the stars, such as myself, and to remember who you are. I move into the 5th dimension to show you my physical appearance as the black jaguar, where there is still some time, and I exist within the 7th dimension where there is no time and no body as you know it. You yourselves are multi-dimensional beings, and tonight I would like you to experience your multi-dimensional self. This requires a quieting of the psychology, which is the belief that you are only this person, this being, this physical body. But if you allow yourself to embrace your multidimensional being, you can feel it and you can sense it. Even in the 7th dimension, I am a warrior, I am passionate, I am bright in my emotion of love. And so you too, your soul is not devoid of personality, of uniqueness, of even an identity. For the identity is an experience that allows you to grow and learn and to ascend. Humanity is learning their true identity and breaking away that which is not true. The shadow identity that has been layered over your multidimensional self is falling away. And so you wake up to new ideas, new callings, new seeds planted in your heart. And you want so much to follow those seeds, follow those plantings, to create those ideas. And this is your multidimensional self speaking with you and to you, walking beside you. The veil, the cobwebs, all that has limited you from your multidimensional self is being taken away, and you can support this process simply with your will and with your intention, with your love and with your desire, with your own passion. Be passionate about your ideas, be passionate about your calling, let your passions shine, let them be colorful and bright. And sometimes that may bother others because their own psychology has not yet removed the cobwebs. They are still in the shadow design that has been overlaid their multidimensional self. And that is okay. There's no judgment. Only the love for the experience and for the growth and for the learning. In some ways, we are your future. We are what you are becoming. And we hold our hand out to give you a leg up, to show you the way, to light the path. But it is your will, your free will, that will decide whether it is this lifetime that you remove the cobwebs, that you let go of the psychology and the belief that you are only the physical being. Some people have come into the idea that they're greater because they've removed the cobwebs. They've come into this identity that they are better and know more. And so there's still psychology to be healed and worked on, because the truth is you're all multidimensional beings. You are all beautiful. You are all co-creators. So this is really interesting, and that's actually a lot of information to break down. But the multidimensional being we've learned is definitely accessible. And what we've recently learned is that our field, which I see as a grid, our field holds all the records of our being and records of the collective, records of our history within this planet. So the field is something we've been called to begin to access more, see it more as our true self, because it is connected to our multidimensional being, and begin to operate more from the field, seeing our physical reality, our physical body more as a projection. So I personally do a lot of meditation bringing myself out of my body and into the field, expanding that field out and allowing it to speak to me. So all that means is becoming very present. Presence is very important in this work. You cannot access your intuitive or psychic abilities or your field, which is really what that is. When you say psychic, you're accessing the field and the information that is there. But if you try to receive information from the field and you can't be present, it's going to be distorted. And it's distorted already because we're human. We have beliefs. We have our own thoughts. So as you watch different people who channel information, a lot of times at the core, the information is the same, but the way we express it is different because we have different understandings, different learning, different language, different beliefs. So even within ourselves as a channeler, or in receiving the information from the field, which again is all that is, we want to really work on letting go of our own beliefs and paradigms and being flexible in that, meaning allowing ourselves to grow. If you get too stuck in your ideas, in your beliefs, you hinder yourself from growth because there's a lot we don't know and understand. For example, he's talking about the shadow identity that's been layered over our multidimensional self. He says it's falling away. So one of the things when I first had my spiritual awakening that I would hear about is the veil is lifting. This is a message that would just come into me. Had no idea what that meant, but now I'm beginning to understand the veil is lifting on our consciousness, and I believe that was the shadow identity overlaid. Recently, we had a channeling with Andira where she said, within our field is sacred geometry. And as we meditate within the sacred geometry, it activates things in our field that then allow us to awaken more into our multidimensional being. So one of the things she mentioned meditating on was the Merkaba. I don't know much about the Merkaba, but she showed it to me in the field. And it was almost like meditating on each triangle within the Merkaba it's almost like a door or a portal. So it activates something different. I don't know because we're just beginning to work with it. So spending time meditating within that Merkaba. But to me, she said, this is what has kept us from being able to access information in our multidimensional self. And so by activating the Merkaba, you are activating more of your field to access that information. To me, we're just opening doors to say, oh, here's a record from my multidimensional self. I would like to see this, or here's information from it. There's so much that you can access. I've had past lives or other lives come through from the field. I've had very basic visions of me doing things in the future, and then I do those things, they come to pass. I have seen timelines or options. If a person allows it, I never access a person's field without their permission. But if they give me permission, then through the field, because we're all connected, even though I say my field, your field, really it's one field. So when I'm able to connect to the information in their field, I can see things about them or their history or their soul or their higher self or whatever it may be. So there's so much that can be accessed in the field. And the more we can go in and get into presence right now, right here, without being concerned about the past or the future, then you're really able to tune in and receive from the field. It's an intimate connection. This is not like my field needs to give to me what I want, right? My field needs to tell me what I need to do. It's not like that at all. It's like this very intimate giving and receiving. So meaning when I step into my field and I just allow, there's no expectation. I'm just present in that moment. Because being present in the field allows you to be in what these beings call our resonance. And that in itself is nourishing. It's very nourishing to our being. So even just being in that space, you're receiving, but then you can also give. And it just happens naturally. As you expand your field, you feel more love, you feel more gratitude, more presence. And so the field is giving to you, and then you're giving to the field. And it's this beautiful exchange. And then within that, you may receive an image or a thought or a download, a teaching. There's so many things you can receive from the field. So first, getting into presence and getting into meditation. Meditation itself is beautiful. And often when I talk to people who don't meditate, they're like, oh, I would love to learn to meditate to relieve stress or to sleep. And I laugh because I think, wow, that's so basic. And I get what they're saying. But meditation is a key and a door and a portal back into yourself, and really into magical experiences, supernatural experiences of more inspiration and love. And it's also an access point to step into your shadow, to see things mirrored back to you that are in your psychology. So using it just for sleep or stress just sounds funny to me. But meditation, what I also hear from people who don't meditate is, oh, it feels like work. And when I first started meditating, it did feel like work. I couldn't sit for 5 minutes. I would have to set my timer. My body became so uncomfortable and my mind would not be quiet. And so I would just did 5 minutes until I could do 10 minutes, till I could do 15 minutes. And I progressed. And now I don't like to go a day without meditation. But to me, it's not meditation. It's connecting with the field and with my higher self, my multidimensional being, my guides, others, the collective, nature. And so that is a beautiful experience, right? It takes you out of that idea of, oh, I need to learn to meditate. Meditation is a letting go. It is a getting present. It's a letting go and allowing. So it's very different than a work or an action that you need to take. And we are very action based, and we've been raised that way to, you got to do this, complete your task list, fulfill your responsibilities, figure out the next step. What are you going to do in the future? And so we're constantly called into the future. And then it's like, also, you did that thing wrong in the past. So why did you do that in the past? Don't do that again, because it messed things up or whatever it may be. And so we spend time also in the past. The more we get present and in a meditative state, the more in your day-to-day you'll learn to be present. And this is when your anxiousness begins to fall away, because you're no longer obsessing about what happened or obsessing and trying to control what will happen. And you can never control things. Things just happen. And so you might as well allow them to happen and see the field unfolding for you in a way that everything is for your highest good, but also be active in the field and set intention. So I always have an intention out in the field of what I would like to experience. That's it. It's not an intention to control. It's, I would love to experience this, however that can unfold and manifest. I just want to know what that is. And so I'll put that intention out there when I'm being present. Sometimes I'll receive images of what that feels like, what that looks like, what that might be like. But I really let go of the control, because I want it to be the most magical way that it can unfold. But then you have to really stay connected to the field in your waking experience, in your day-to-day. And again, the only way to really do that in alignment is by being in peace and presence. So throughout the day, accessing presence. That's why a lot of people receive downloads or information or psychic impressions when they're zoning out, when they're not really thinking about the past or the present. They may be falling asleep or driving their car. You're also in more of a trance state, but in a trance state, you're more present. You're not focused on any one thing. You're just allowing things to occur. And this is why I thought it was beautiful. He said, let your imagination be free, or something like that. Letting your imagination be free allows the field to speak. It speaks through your emotion, through your imagination, and through your being. So he also goes into talking about your sacred being. He says, you have the ability to create, to have magic in your everyday, to be guided, to receive messages, and to know what is right for you. So historically, you had to be psychic to receive messages, right? The energies are really shifting now, and we're remembering that we in our core being, all of us, have the ability to connect to the field, to information, to our multidimensional being, our higher self, to these other beings and guides, and receive information. It's not restricted to a certain amount of people that are special. We are all special. And so he's just reminding us that we all have this ability to create. We are creation. So he says, if you feel called to create vessels of light, is simply knowledge and wisdom. It is, as we've learned now, information and form. Create that vessel, whether it be through art, whether it be through a space, whether it be through your own actions in your own voice. You yourself are a vessel. You are a vessel for creation, for light, for things to be made, right? That's what's so cool about this physical body, is that we get to experience creation in a very specific way. I can pick this up, I can throw it, I can break it. Maybe that's destruction, but I just created an experience. And this is what life is. It's about creating experiences. So when you create art or you create a space for people, you create something you're really called to, it inspires you. And that in turn inspires others, or it heals you, and then that heals others. It's a beautiful giving and receiving. So then he says, I would ask you to begin to treat your vessel as the most sacred thing in your life. When something is sacred, it's almost delicate, it's special, it's loved, it's honored, it's respected, and it's shared. You are sacred. Remember this in every action that you do, and your psychology will begin to heal. The light will shine brighter when you treat yourself as the most sacred thing. Whether you choose to create an affirmation, whether you choose to just drop into a meditation and feel your own sacredness, this is a key I give to you tonight. It's simple, and sometimes with simplicity, it goes ignored. And it really does, right? How often do we take time to drop into ourselves as a sacred being? How often do we think about ourselves as a sacred being? And I thought it was beautiful how he says, not only do we treat it as something very special, but then we share it. We share this sacredness with others, but in a way that is beautiful, right? You don't keep your wisdom or your creations hidden and inside of yourself. You know that whatever comes from you is beautiful and sacred. And so you allow that to come into creation by honoring your sacred being. This is going to be a big theme, I think, this year, not only of walking into our shadow self to unleash or integrate the things that are no longer serving us, the mistruths, those things that make us believe we are not sacred. Those things need to be removed so that we can really step into our sacredness and begin to share our love and our wisdom and our creations in a way that's very different than we have been doing. So he says, joy, happiness, the evolution into light and love is not difficult. So what is light and love? Because you hear this a lot. Light is form, it is creation. Light carries information out, if you will, the code, the vibration, the frequencies, and then creates something into form. This is light. Love in itself is a resonance or frequency, a vibration. And when we are able to access that frequency of love, is very connected to peace. There's this interplay in them and presence. When you get into presence, you naturally expand out, and love is very different from a physical love. It's in some ways, it's more just like this beautiful presence and connection to all things. and knowing that there's nothing you need to do and you're never separate from it. So this is love, and it's just a frequency that is in all of creation, right? Because it's all connected. It's simply different from what you have learned, what you have been told within your society and your planet. But because you are a multidimensional being, you already know the truth. Now it's time to share it and embrace it and treat it as the sacred knowledge and wisdom that it is. This time affects other times. So this timeline, what is happening here as we evolve on the planet, is affecting other times. He says this is a complicated subject to discuss, but just know that is why the Earth, the planet, and this time are important to many beings, to many timelines, and even to many dimensions. Your little planet has an effect, has a ripple, has a pull, whether you devolve or you evolve, and that is true for all planets and all dimensions. We are all connected, and remember this, your connection never ceases, it never burns out, it never ends. Be passionate, be sacred. That is the path and the key that I give you today. So it's a beautiful, I want to say reminder, but it's a key. It initiates you to remember your connection, and that regardless of what you choose to experience in this life, because it's always your choice what you experience, whatever you choose to experience is okay. It's okay for you, and it's okay for others. So as we do this work within ourselves to access our multidimensional being, to create through more joy, more love, more inspiration, as we step into our shadow and face the things that are really scary to us so that we can integrate those and no longer be afraid, that is all our personal experience and good. But just because somebody else does not wish to have that experience does not make them bad. It does not make any experience better or worse or right or wrong. And as you access more of your being, you really see this. This is all just an experience, an expression of something we wish to learn or understand or maybe give or receive. And so it makes everything really okay. And the evolution of this planet is an experience for all of us, and we can choose how we want to participate in that, because the planet will evolve regardless. So just letting you know that this channeling was brought to us to initiate a remembrance, and future channelings go a lot into the remembrance. And so there's no, again, it's not about saving anything or being a part of a fight or anything like that. It's really about a time of remembrance. So we'll talk about this more in the future. Thank you for participating and being here and listening. We'd love to hear your own thoughts and insights and things that have been coming to you, because again, we're all receiving information at this time.